So there have been no shortage of exceptional college football games for us to talk about in 2022, and this weekend is going to be no exception because there's a game that when we really start breaking down the details, I think it's going to be extremely interesting. And of course, today we're talking about Oklahoma taking on Oklahoma State as Bedlam has arrived. But before we can break into this game, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe the Oklahoma Sooners can recapture positive momentum and get a big win against Oklahoma State come Saturday? Let me know what you're thinking, and then drop me your score predictions down in the comments. Can't wait to hear from you. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. We're on a push to 15,000 subscribers, and we have amassed an unbelievable community here, and that's all due to y'all. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see what the future holds, and if you enjoyed this, be sure to like and comment down below. Guys, those interactions are massive to content creators such as myself and getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But having said all that, let's dive right into this because as I said in the intro, this is a game that I was already looking forward to, and every time I talk about Bedlam, I call it a rivalry game, to which Oklahoma fans go to the comments and correct me, letting me know, hey, this isn't a rivalry game because Oklahoma has owned this series, and you're right. But let me explain myself. In my opinion, anytime I call a game a rivalry game, it's because there's deeper implications on the line than a simple win-loss. For Oklahoma State, it's bragging rights in the state of Oklahoma. And furthermore, with the impending move of Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, we don't know how much longer we're going to be getting this matchup at a consistent basis. I've been on the record saying I would believe in the future Oklahoma State is going to be a matchup that comes back because I believe it's just too good to throw to the wayside. But at the same time, because that's on thin ice, we don't know the future of it. Every matchup we get of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State is just going to be a little bit sweeter until that move comes because we know it's history that's going to be ending here very shortly. So even though Oklahoma has largely dominated this matchup, there's implications on the line that's greater than a simple win and a loss, or at least in my opinion, that's how I view it. But now let's move on to the actual game, to the actual details. Because when you start looking at this gets really intriguing and gets really fun to start thinking about. And I want to start with Oklahoma's offense against Oklahoma State's defense. Because last year, Oklahoma State had a vaunted defense under Jim Knowles. However, in the offseason, Jim Knowles made the move from Oklahoma State to Ohio State, and so too went Oklahoma State's defense. Because what was a top defense last year comes in as the number 121 total defense in the nation. So they have had a huge drop. And if you're Oklahoma's offense, that means there's going to be opportunities presented for you to get successful plays, both through the air and on the ground. And I want to start with the latter first, on the ground, because Eric Gray has been money for the Oklahoma Sooners all season long. He has come alive this year and shown exactly what I've been talking about since he got to Oklahoma, the versatility he possesses. And guys, I've said this before, I'm going to quickly say it again. The reason I thought Oklahoma and Eric Gray would work so well was what DeMarco Murray said whenever Eric Gray got there. We kept hearing DeMarco Murray talk to the press during the spring practice and say, hey, we're looking for the running back with the most versatility. A few times later, after saying that, he comes out and says Eric Gray's the guy with the most versatility. So to me, maybe I was reading into the tea leaves, but that was almost an admission that they loved this dude. And now we're seeing why they love him so much. But if you're Oklahoma with Eric Gray, you're going to want to get that guy involved in this game and get him involved quickly. Oklahoma State has a lot of trouble stopping the rush. They rank as the 89th rush defense in the nation, so you are going to have opportunities to get successful plays because Oklahoma's rushing attack, well, it has been very good all year. Top 15, currently coming in as the number 13 in the nation. And it's not just on the heels of Eric Gray. You have Marcus Major, you have Javonte Barnes, you have Dylan Gabriel, who's a mobile quarterback himself, so there are several different ways you can have successful rushing plays, but let's be honest here. Eric Gray has been automatic for you. But if we really want to look at what Oklahoma State struggles with the most, well, it's their passing defense, because they have one of the worst passing defenses in all of college football, coming in as the number 128 pass defense in the nation. And when we look at Oklahoma, that's one area they have not been able to field consistently is their passing offense. There's been games where that part of their offense looks like it's coming alive. We've seen drives where Oklahoma looks like the Oklahoma of old, hurting defenses passing the ball, but they have not been able to sustain it. But this is an opportunity for them to get a lot of positive gains through the air because of the defense they're playing and because of how many yards the defense they're playing has allowed through the air. Now, one thing we have to talk about, Oklahoma State's defense has gotten 11 interceptions this year, and Dillon Gabriel has been prone to throwing some interceptions. So as long as Dillon Gabriel is making good decisions and is accurate with the football, you have to like the advantages Oklahoma's skill positions are going to create in this matchup. Marvin Mims is one of the best wide receivers in the nation. Look, we can talk about what the production is and how the production may not have been what so many expected, but whenever we're talking about just pure skill, you have to love wherever he's matched up against, especially against this defense. But even further than that, Farouk has been an absolute weapon for the Oklahoma Sooners. That's a guy that I don't think has gotten enough play whenever people are giving praise to the Oklahoma offense. We're going to have to probably do a video just on Farouk because he has been that good. Look at how they're utilizing him. They're utilizing him as a gadget player. They're utilizing him as a receiver. That lets you know all you need to know about the caliber of player he is and how important this staff thinks he's going to be to the future of this offense. So he's a guy to keep your eye on. All that being said, whenever you look at the matchup of Oklahoma's offense against Oklahoma State's defense, there are several different areas you have to be excited about, but the biggest one, Oklahoma has got to have sustained drives in this game. It's been the one area I've been pleading with the Sooners to show us since the very beginning of this year. Even when they were scoring a ton of points and scoring it quickly, I would be talking and saying, hey, that's all well and good, but I want to see you control the clock. I want to see you take 6, 5, 7 minutes off the clock at will, because you have the ability to do so with the running backs you hold and with the wide receivers you hold. So it's going to be interesting to see how Oklahoma game plans attacking this Oklahoma State defense so that they can score points, but also hold the ball and control some clock. Because if you're controlling the clock and you're holding the ball, your defense is off the field. Your defense is resting, and that's going to be key because that gets us into the second area of this game we have to talk about. We have to flip the script. We have to talk about Oklahoma State's offense against the OU defense, and here it's kind of a similar story because the Oklahoma defense has been nowhere to be found as well. They come in as the number 109 total defense in the nation, and if you're Oklahoma State, the key to this victory is finding some semblance of a rush attack because that's been one thing Oklahoma cannot stop is the rush. However, if you're Oklahoma State, that's been an area of your offense that you have not been able to get generated. While Eric Gray is well over 1,000 yards, Oklahoma State's leading rusher hasn't even hit 600 yards yet. And in fact, if you look at the rushing breakdown for Oklahoma State, there is a major discrepancy between the carries of the first running back, the second leading rusher, who, by the way, is Spencer Sanders, and the third leading rusher. There is a massive discrepancy in the amount of carries, which tells me one thing. Oklahoma State, by and large, up to this point in the season, has relied on their primary running back and Spencer Sanders to get the job done in the rushing game. Now, this does present a problem for Oklahoma, that they are playing a mobile quarterback. Spencer Sanders has more touchdowns on the ground this year than at any point in his career at Oklahoma State. He's a veteran quarterback, he's played in big games before, and all of those are things that help Oklahoma State's case in this game. That they have a guy that's played in this exact matchup before. You have to like the advantage that gives Oklahoma State. And even if you're someone who's sitting there saying, Ty, I don't think that's an advantage at all, that experience is. The experience both with the coaches currently there. I know there's some new guys. I know there's some new faces on the field, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. When we look at the passing yards for Oklahoma State, they're a top 20 passing offense in the nation, coming in as the number 20 passing offense overall. And while Oklahoma's passing defense is nowhere near as bad as their rushing defense, where their rushing defense comes in at number 120 in the nation, their passing defense comes in at number 76. It's still not the pass defense you would like and feel comfortable with going up against the number 20 passing offense in the nation. So Oklahoma's defense is going to have a lot asked of them this week, but that's not going to be anything new. They've had a lot asked of them week in, week out. But that's why I turn the attention, and I want to turn your attention to Oklahoma's offense, because they have got to give their defense some help. And I know some of you are probably sitting there right now confused saying, how can the offense give defense help? Simply put, they have got to sustain drives. Oklahoma's offense cannot go out there and 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, because at that point, you're asking your defense to play more plays, and you're asking them to play more plays against a veteran quarterback that's been efficient using his legs all season. I know that's not what Oklahoma State has been known for this season. They're a much more pass-happy team, But point still remains. He has the ability to do so. They have a running back that may not have had the yards of Eric Gray, but he's still there, and you still have to respect him because you've struggled so much stopping the run. The problem then comes is that if your offense is having 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and Oklahoma State's offense starts getting into a rhythm where even if they're not going for 7 yards a chunk on a rush play, if they're even getting 4 to 5, Oklahoma's safeties are going to have to start creeping in, coming closer to the box. At that point, the passing game for Oklahoma State opens up. So this is why I say, if you're Oklahoma, this isn't just talking about what your defense has to do. We have to talk about what your offense is going to afford your defense to do. Because that's been one area time and time again for the Oklahoma Sooners that we look up and they've already gone 3 and out and the defense is trotting right back on the field. At a certain point, you got to give those guys a break. You can't ask them to play that many snaps all the time and expect to have successful outcomes. So this is a week where I love the opportunities and the way they present themselves for Oklahoma and the offense. So at the end of this, who do I believe is going to come out victorious? And personally, I think Oklahoma is going to get the win. Now, make no mistake, I don't think it's going to be easy, and I think Oklahoma State is going to be right there. I can't wait to see what this game is going to give us. I think it's going to be fireworks. I can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know who you think wins this game, because I absolutely think there's an argument to be made either way, and those are the games that are the most fun. Hop down to the comments, let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See you.